Hello, everyone. I'm Yali from Light Collab. Um, sorry. Yes, so I come from Singapore. I'm a lighting designer. I work with the medium of light, just like many of you. Yes, so the topic I'd like to share is on the transformative power of lighting, from light as a beacon of hope to a life-centric lighting approach for people and nature. My presentation is going to be quite different from what you have seen so far. I hope that with this presentation, it will bring more different aspects of lighting that we can consider for urban lighting. So we are going to go to 3 different cities, and the first stop we're going to make is in Dhaka. Sorry, before that, just to explain a little bit. So these are actually some of the projects that we do. Yeah, so let's go to Dhaka now. Okay, so this project is actually a monument based in the city of Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. We were very, very honored to be commissioned to design this very important monument for the city of Dhaka. So this actually happened about 12 years ago, and it was completed in 2013. Yeah. So when we first arrived, it's a very different from a city from where I come from, and this is actually the urban nightscape which I found recently. And this was the Dhaka that I experienced at that time, about 10 years ago. So the site is actually situated in one of the last remaining parks in Dhaka. So this particular site was very interesting because it is where the father of the nation and where the battles were fought, and the nation has actually gained independence in 1971 here. So this was a very special place for the people. So the interesting part about this is we are supposed to light up this small red dot right there, the square right there. So in this park, yeah, you can see surrounding it, there is this glass monument here, which is about 45 meters tall. So when we first got this project, we were a bit surprised, but the brief to us was that they want to see this monument from 30 kilometers around the city. So the monument is actually 45 meters tall, so we wondered how we're going to do that. And the best part was the monument is made of glass, and it's made out of clear glass. So how are we going to light up clear glass? This was the next challenge that we have to think about. So luckily, they have actually made a very small mock-up here. No lighting simulations could actually simulate how light is going to interact with the properties of glass, of clear glass to be specific. But the good thing was it was of stacked glass, so with the properties of light, we could actually light up the monument. So we did a number of mock-ups with also the government people, and they were quite excited about the effect. The challenge for this is to light up the clear glass and to make sure that it's still a single column of light. Yeah, so we actually have to commission this. This was like more than 10 years ago. Yeah, and this was actually the result when it was done. And it was very interesting because when you go close, you can actually see the reflections and the internal reflections of the material. Yeah. So what you do see, people are interacting with this glass tower. As a lighting designer, this became a very, very important project in my career because I didn't realize that this 45 meters tall monument means so much to the people. And the architect actually posted on his Facebook, that finally after so long it was lit. And then we were very shocked. We were very surprised by the comments then because we have, of course, gone back to Singapore. And then we were very, very surprised to really see the comments of the people at that time posting it, and they felt so proud of the project. And this is actually how lighting could actually give power and also kind of pride, to the nation. Yeah. So this is actually the project. Okay, some of you may think like, is this light pollution? Okay, so well, we actually had a dialogue with the government. Actually, the real tower is only that tall, probably. Okay, but they wanted this to be a beacon of hope for the nation. So they really wanted this to be seen. Yeah, probably this is only something that I'll do once in a lifetime. Yeah. Next, we will go to Singapore next. Yeah. So this is where we started working with different properties of light, which is actually something that is hidden, but is very present in the nature of light itself. So we were tasked to actually to be involved in this project, which is the a hotel that is 38 years old. So it needs to be undergoing a renovation. So as you can see, this is Singapore. This is where I come from. And some of the trends in Singapore that we have as a nation is to have a garden city that is very, in the Singapore, story. So you can see not just that we light up, we have green, we have landscape on the ground, but we also have green on buildings themselves. And we also have terrace gardens. So this is a very important signature of Singapore. So taking that one step further, okay, Singapore also started introducing greenery into buildings, into interiors. Okay, so one of the challenges of working with on this kind of context is that, of course, the plants are not just an object of beautification, but they are also a living element. Yeah, they are also part of the ecosystem. So when we actually embark on this project, this 38 years hotel is designed by a very famous American architect, John Spotman, where he designed very amazing large atriums. Yeah, but what happened here was this was before renovation. And then you can see it didn't look it was in need of a facelift. Yeah. And this was the existing lighting condition at that time before the renovation. Yeah, so it was not very pleasant to be sitting there. And although there was colored lighting, nobody could really understand what was the concept of the colored lighting, or what does it mean, or how does it give value to the space. Yeah. So then this became the vision that the hotel wants to have and the client wants to have. So the idea of bringing greenery as part of the biophilic design came into place. So when we came on board, we were presented with all these renderings from the architect and the interior designer. We were quite surprised because unlike the other buildings that you have saw, we don't have actually that much daylight. We have a really tiny skylight right at the top, but we actually measured it was not enough to actually support the plants or the trees. Yeah. So we also have a 13-meter tall green wall that we know that it's not going to survive if we don't have artificial lighting to support it. Some of the views, the pre-render views, is it's always very easy to Photoshop or to simulate greenery, and you just put it as objects of beautification. But actually, it impacts the plants have life, but they became our new clients. It becomes really challenging because they cannot talk to you. If they're gonna die, they won't tell you like, hey, help me, okay? So this become really, really critical. So up here, we have a very tiny skylight here, okay? And it's not gonna give us that much daylight into this space. So we have real trees, like 200 over trees here. So it's gonna be very, very challenging to support this. Yeah, so the idea of a garden in a hotel became quite trendy in Singapore. So going back to the basics about the visible wavelength, okay, and then we were talking about, what do the plants need then? Okay, so the hotel is actually operating 24 hours in the main space. So one of the greatest challenges, if we are going to put something like this as a grow lights inside the atrium space, is really going to damage, the whole experience of the people. Maybe the plants will survive, but the people are not going to enjoy themselves, and it's definitely not an Instagrammable place. So this was some other grow lights being implemented. They look slightly better, but the color of the green is also not very healthy for the plants. Definitely people standing under it is not going to look very good. So we came up with the idea of how we transform the space from day to night so that the people and the plants are going to be happy. So in the daytime, we created the narration of a forest whereby the grow lights are at 100% to support the growth. And then at nighttime, the plants actually need to sleep. They need to sleep, so they can't have too much lighting on them. Otherwise, they will overwork and they also face problems with survival as well. So we started changing the scenes to actually dim down so that from the atrium, we can still view the garden from above. And then we also thought of the possibility of creating a light show on certain times of the day. So this is our very first render about how lighting should be in the daytime, and then how it slowly dimmed down on the evening, such that the lighting does not affect the plant's cycle. So this was the renovation. Yeah, and it was quite amazing seeing how the trees actually started moving in. We have done a lot of research, how the plants can survive in this environment. We talked to arborists as well to see, are you sure they're going to survive like this moving in? Yeah, and you can see the trees are quite small. Yeah, so it's extremely challenging. The client keep asking, are you sure the plants will survive, the trees will survive? I say, okay, let's hope for the best. Okay, we have done our due diligence. So this was when the plants actually started, the hotel started to operate. Yeah, that was like about 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago. So what happened was, these are other spaces as well. So you can see the trees, at that time. Yeah. So slowly we started documenting as well the other views of this. And you can see from the atriums, there's no way of escaping, everywhere you can see this garden. Yeah. So in December 2020, when it first opened, okay, the plants were that small. And then slowly in 2021, you can see that the leaves have actually started to grow quite a lot. Okay, so these are the comparisons. Yeah, and the plants actually start to grow. Yeah, quite lush in 2020 and then in 2021. Yeah. So these are the other views, of the atrium. Yeah, even from the top, you can see the entire atrium. So the lighting needs to be very focused so that it does not flood the whole space, and so people can still feel the hospitality experience and with the plants. So in December 2020, so this is where the green wall is, 30 meters tall green wall. And then in August, about 2 years later, about 1 year later, you can see that, the green wall actually starts to sprout quite a bit. And the amazing part is, lighting actually affects, the plants, and we actually start to flower. Yeah. So this is from the view from the atrium. So there is also a hanging sculpture here, which cost about $3 million 38 years ago for this artwork. So originally, the new interior designer didn't really appreciate this that much, and it was kind of lost in the atrium space. But we thought that maybe, this is very amazing, and this is a site-specific artwork. And we thought that we can bring more life to it by creating a light show to light it up. So this is actually a tribute. It was very difficult because we couldn't find any information about the artwork because it has been so long. So I tried to Google and try to find out more information. And then I realized who the sculptor was. He was from America as well. And then it's actually looking like the orchid. So what we did was we have additional lighting to actually implement. So at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, the atrium transforms into a light show, and we have to actually pick the music ourselves and to run a 2 minutes and 38 minutes, 2 minutes 38 seconds light show here. Yeah. So the lighting actually change and transform the space and the depth. Yeah, because in this atrium we don't have a view of Marina Bay Sands. Okay. So we also work with the material of with the sculpture, like the metallic glowing structure. Yeah, so we work with it, to create mirror ball effect, reflections. Yeah, so that it actually highlights the atrium and to give it a new life. Okay, next we are going to Dubai. So following that, it was very interesting working with plants. I'm trying to understand plants. The research actually started because of the Singapore Pavilion for the World Expo 2020. So bringing a part of Singapore to the World Expo and to the desert, where we have a completely different climate, becomes very, very challenging. Yeah, so we wanted to showcase Singapore and the Garden City as usual. But of course, being in the desert with so many plants seems like a suicidal thought, right? Okay. And then the best part was they also brought a lot of local plants from Singapore over there. Okay. And this building was not even air conditioned. Okay. So this is extremely challenging. It is also worth to mention it's a zero energy building. Okay. And the architect wanted to showcase best practices with no air conditioning, zero energy, and then with the idea of having landscape and plants, they can actually reduce the temperature. So inside the pavilion, the temperature is actually 7 degrees lower. So outside could be 40 degrees, inside is actually 33 degrees. So going back to this story, the interesting part about the architecture was it's pretty complex, and we have our neighboring pavilions next door. We actually did a sun path to actually check where we can have daylight and is it enough to support the plants. And once again, although we are in the desert, we actually don't have enough that much daylight, especially at some of the areas. Yeah, so we actually did a simulation. And then the architect also brought in the solar tubes, okay, to have daylight to come through it. Yep. So what happened here was that, then we realized that daylight is still not enough, okay, for the plants, especially where we have the hanging gardens, where this part here where the plants are still gonna hang, light will not reach there, obviously. So coming back to this, on the world stage, we have to come up with a light show, but then we are not going to have lasers. That's the number one rule that the government told us, okay, and the architect told us. So what we need to do is we need to use the fittings, the light fixtures, that we already have, and to make sure that we can create a light show with it, so nothing goes to waste. All the lighting fixtures, they have different duties and they have to multitask. So creating a narration about the story of daylight and plants, and we wanted them to actually go up this pavilion like they are walking in the rainforest, embracing nature. And then at night time, they will slowly change, and then it becomes an environment where you can feel the heartbeat of the forest with light. So we wanted to manifest the spectrum of light that is used for photosynthesis earlier on, okay, that is camouflaged by daylight. Okay, we wanted to bring out that spectrum of light, and so that people can appreciate that. So this becomes a creative narrative story for the Singapore Pavilion. So these are actually some of the initial renders, okay, where we still have the more natural light, and then slowly it starts to evolve, and then we started manifesting the spectrum. We work with special grow lights manufacturer from Singapore to custom orders so that the horticulture fixtures also become entertainment fixtures as well. So we created this light show. So after dark, the scenography will start, and then at every 1 hour, we'll have a special light show with music to create the heartbeat of the forest. And then after that, it goes back into a loop. Yeah, so this was the making of. You can see the behind of the scenes. And we did a lot of commissioning, and it was very complex because the whole light show was a journey up into the pavilion on the 4th story. So when we are doing the light show, we have to keep walking up and down, walking up and down. I think we walked like, I don't know how many kilometers just around this very small footprint. And also checking the scenography from outside and also from inside. Because for the pavilion, the indoors and the outdoors are blurred. Yeah. So these are actually some of the spaces. So this was on the opening day, and then the lighting was actually shown here right now. And people can actually start climbing from here, and then they can go to the mist walk and then up to this area here. Yeah. So here, these are actually some of the images. Okay. And then when people are going up the mist walk, so they can experience different effects of lighting. And if anyone has to take photos, the lighting keep changing, pulsating, so nobody can capture the same photo as another person. Yeah, so it's always changing and different. Yeah. So, and then we also played with the colors of the spectrum to elevate the whole experience. Yeah. And then this is also part of the mist walk. Yeah. And these are other photos showing the spectrum coming together. Yeah. Yeah, so this is another view going into this area here. Yeah. And these are the same views, almost the same views, but you can see the lighting is always different. Yeah. And then we also have entering one of the cones, so people can actually walk from here all the way up into the pavilion. So these areas here will never get daylight, actually. So this is actually the team working very hard, okay, to achieve the Singapore Pavilion. We spent almost 1 month programming it, finding tune every single light on site in very hot summer weather. Yeah. So this comes to the end of the presentation. Thank you.